Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new series, Flashback Friday videos. We are doing episode 1 today, and the thought process of this was that if you're following the streams, you could see that when I do the editing for tutorials, how long it takes. I'm already on day 18 for the closet accessory, and I'm maybe halfway done. It's just insane the time that it takes to do it. And so sometimes I get emails from people saying, oh, did you stop doing YouTube videos? And the answer is no, it just takes a lot of time because I'm a one-man show. So what I wanted to do is, since Flashback Friday is very popular, I thought, why not create Flashback Friday videos so that I'd be able to look back with you on some of the photos that I've taken in the past years. And then I'd be able to post these and have you watch something in between the time that it takes for me to put the tutorial uploaded and in between the live streams if you find that too long or don't have time to come and see them at that point. So anyway, the other thing about this is that these Flashback Fridays will be recorded live, as you see, with no script, just you, me, and my brain, my old brain, and so it'll make it more authentic and it's less scripted. Well, it's not scripted at all, so it'll be just the natural reactions that you see. So welcome to episode 1, and let's get started, shall we? Okay, so here we are. This is the first photo. I just randomly picked pictures. Oh, and today we're doing Celebration 4. I forgot to mention that in the intro, that today's episode is going back to 2007 Celebration 4. So I have selected a few photos that I thought we'd look at together, and I'll give you my thoughts of what comes into my mind when I see them. And hopefully you'll find it interesting enough to keep coming back for future Flashback Friday videos. So here we go with this one. We are at the convention center, and this is the day of the setup, or the day before the public. And this is all the stuff that we had brought back or brought to the convention center with my friend John, who I met at LucasArts while I was working at ILM. Celebration 4 was the first convention that I did and produced while I was working at ILM for the first time, so it was really cool. It has a special meaning to me. And we got lots of donations from Lucasfilm and LucasArts and ILM to give away to the fans during our booth adventure. And here's part of the items that we had to take out of the truck with forklift and start unpacking the next day. If I go here, this shows you the size of the convention space that we had. It was one of the biggest at the time. I think C6 was bigger by 120 feet by 120 feet. This, I think, was 80 by 80, and it was still huge. I was a little bit disappointed at first because they put us in sort of like this big sort of like hangar space instead of in the main hall with all of the activity, but it was a way for them to give us the humongous room that we had, so I was really appreciative of that. And once we started building, and for the first time, if you look up here, they made a sign for me with my little Ewok. They didn't put my face in it, because at the time I had my Yum Yums Universe website, and my face was inside Wicket, which was the joke. And but this was a nice wink for them to do that. I was really surprised when I saw that. Oh, here's some little baby Ewoks someone had made. They had sculpted and cast these little Ewoks that they brought to display in the Endor forest. So that was kind of cool. Since then, I think Hasbro released some baby Ewoks in the past, so now you could collect the official ones, but this was really cool when I saw these at first. Oh, this is young me positioning on day one of the construction. So what happens at the booths, if you're not familiar with what we did, is that the fans come over, we give them all the art supplies for free, and then we give them sort of like instructions of on how to build the item that they choose. So we give them the selection, like, okay, you could build a tree bark or a tree, you could build a spiral, you could build a hut, you could build all the different things that you want. And so at the end of the day, I went and placed them on the diorama display table so that the next day when the people come in, they see the progress of what the fans made. And that's what makes the convention experience at the Diorama Builders was made so fun, by doing that. And then on the Sunday, everyone got to take home as a souvenir all the different things that they had built. So that was another fun part of it. Oh, here's a close-up of the figures that are placed with we had mulch that we had bought for the floor so that it would hide the tables and give more look of a forest or something like that. And at first the security didn't want to let us bring it into the convention center. They said, oh, that's a fire hazard, that's very dangerous. And we were like, no, if without it, it's going to look terrible. And we finally were able to convince them that, look, no one's touching it, no one's going near it with fire and different things. So thank God it worked out. So that was a cool figure. The figures actually were donated by fans and by Hasbro directly from their China warehouse. And so that was the first time that Hasbro did that for our booth. And so all these figures, the fans got to bring back with them as well. We never brought anything back with us in terms of toys and action figures. Oh, here's one of Jamie's jokes. We started doing these sort of Easter egg jokes, and I think this is from Family Guy. And so the people, when the fans would go around the final diorama on the Sunday, they'd be able to spot all these sort of Easter eggs and take photos of them, and it was a lot of fun. This is a trend that continued through all of the conventions that we did. And here is my sign at the top that you could see a better picture of it. And this is the working area over here. So these are people that are building some of their trees. You could see that they progressed pretty much over here. And then the diorama went all the way to the other end of our booth. So this was about 80 feet long. So that was really impressive. When you were there, it was more cool. That's not a real phrase, but when you were there, it was like, oh my God, this is so huge. The photo, what I'm trying to say is the photo doesn't give the scale of the actual sort of experience. Oh, here's me, okay, with some of my main crew at the time. And so we have John on the left with his son JC. We have Scott and his son that came. We have Jamie that was with me for every single convention starting from C2 is where we met. And he was my side number one helper throughout till 2019 when it was my last convention that I did. And there's a young me with my Star Wars retro shirt that I had bought at the ILM store. That was cool to walk around. That was a story for another day. Here's Chris, and he's one of the loyal patrons, as well as one of my core crew. He and his kids came to all the conventions and all of our booths, and it was cool to see his kids grow up with us at the show. And his daughter just got married this year, so it makes us see how fast 2 decades flies by and how old we are now. And then John in the white, John Shields. I met him at, he was working at LucasArts at the time, and he came and answered an email that I had sent throughout ILM, and he lived in San Francisco for a while, and he was so important for the success of this year's booth, because he was driving me every weekend to go get materials, and we were doing all the prototypes together and everything like that. And he did a lot of audio work because at LucasArts he had access to ILM and Lucasfilm sound files. We were able to put Ewok chirps and forest sounds and drum beats and all the different things that they had used in LucasArts Star Wars Jedi games. And so it was really cool to be able to have that incorporated into our booth. And then Mark Patton on the right, he's been with us for every convention since 2007, since Celebration 4. And so, yeah, this was sort of like our core crew at the beginning. And over here, we have John and me unloading the van. We had packed the van in right after I had just finished my last shot on Transformers, the first Transformers. And we were supposed to leave like at noon, and we ended up leaving San Francisco around like midnight or something like that. So we drove all night, and then we arrived in Los Angeles around 11 in the morning, 10 in the morning, where we started unloading. And then we found out that you couldn't bring the things, all our material, we couldn't bring it from the van into our booth. We had to load it on a pallet, and then the union guy had to come and take the pallet and bring it inside. Anyway, some long story there too. And so then here's some of the toys and donations that Lucasfilm had given us in the tubs. On the left, you have some of the materials, the tree bark, and different things that we had purchased ahead of time in order to have the fans have the materials they need to build the Endor forest. Oh, Nina, oh my god, I haven't seen her in so long. She moved back to London. Nina, let me see. The first thing that comes to mind is not many people could say that they have a real Jedi as a friend. And Nina and I worked together on the movie 300 at Meteor Studios. She was at ILM before, Lucasfilm, and they had hired her they brought her to Montreal, where the studio was located, and we became friends along the 8-9 months that the production ran. And I had found out that she was the Jedi when episode 3 was filmed, Order 66. The actress that played Adigalia in the first movie with the Jedi Council, she wasn't available when George decided to film extra scenes for Order 66. So Nina was working there at the time, and she kind of resembled the actress from the other movie. And so he asked her, could you come in, wear the outfit, the costume, and we'll film you on the speeder bike so that we could kill you. And so when I found that out, I was like blown. I was, oh my god, that's so cool. And every time I watch the movie now, and I spot her, I recognize her right away, even though like she's so small in the frame, but I know it's her. And at the time, Hasbro released a speeder bike with the original actress on the package, and I surprised Nina by taking a photo of her, photoshopped her face onto the package, and so I gave it to her as a gift when 300 ended. And she has the only the real Hasbro figure with her own face in the packaging. So I should email her and ask her if she still has that. Hopefully she does, but that would be like a cool thing. So anyway, here she was. It was her first convention, and so it was cool to find out that she was going as well. She knew that I was going because I was talking about all the plans that we were doing, the pre-production ideas, and throwing ideas to Lucasfilm for Endor, the theme, and all that. And so She was a couple of 100 feet away from our booth, so I was able to go and pop in from time to time and see her, and she was having all the experience of signing autographs and meeting the fans. So that was really cool for her to be able to do that. So cool for Nina. Oh, the Ewoks. These parents came over. They had made these Ewok costumes for their children, their kids. Imagine being a kid and your mom or dad built this for you or sewed it for you. It was so cool. So because we were Endor booth, we were making the Endor diorama, they came and they said, can we take a picture of our kids in front of the Endor? Unfortunately for them, they came, I think, on the Friday before most of the diorama was completed, and so they only had these little amount of trees behind them, but it was really cool to have them visit. That was really neat. Oh, and on the other hand, we had this. I have the hiccups. This is the 501st troops. They came by and they said, oh, you guys are doing Endor. Can we come with our rebel troopers and stormtroopers? Can we come and do a photo op? And we said, of course. Why would we say no? And so they came with their little gang there, and they filmed in front. They took this photo for themselves in front of the in front of the forest, Endor forest, and that put a big smile on my face when I saw that. And then as soon as the picture finished, the stormtroopers were like trying to run away, and they were chasing them behind them. It was funny. Oh, here's one of the first full trees that were constructed, and see, we would give the instruction. I designed the hut, the sort of like the spiral staircase there and all that, and those instructions we gave to the people, but the rest was all their imaginations. Like, she decided to put that ladder there over here, and then she decided to put this thing on the right. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it was really cool to see how this came to be. And this was only on day one, and we had 4 days at that convention that time. And so I wonder where she is. I see her t-shirt has R2-D2 on it. She was, if I remember, she was one of the R2-D2 builders club, fan club, or the club that they build the R2-D2 droids. And so she came to that and made this, and this remains one of my favorite photos from the show. Okay, here we have, we kept expanding the diorama base. We had originally set a number of tables, and then when we saw the popularity of the show, this was our third convention, but there were so many people coming to build that we had to add tables in order to have more space to put their trees on. And so here we have Jamie on the right, Duke over here, JC and John, and they're helping to put the mulch on top of the table so that we'd be able to not just have a table surface with the trees on top, and it would really give the impression that you had the real forest ground and stuff like that. Here's a shot. Unfortunately, it's a little blurry, but here's a shot of one of the, I think it was on the Saturday, and this is most of the trees that were placed. We have the AT-AT with the landing platform over here that we built in 1 day, which was pretty cool. And then here you see some tables added so that the people can't go and touch, but eventually this would be covered with mulch, and we'd be adding another table along the side over here. So this is what it looked like when you came to visit on the Saturday. Oh, here's the landing platform that I told you. Here we see Mark in the back. He looks so young. Now he has no hair anymore. He's bald. But yeah, this is what he looked like. I think this is John on the side. Not 100% sure. But so we only had like a reference photo for this, and we built it in foam core. Well, actually, not we. I'll show you. I think the next photo over here. Oh no, that's Duke. And let me see. Go back. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, we'll get back to this in a couple of minutes because I know I took a photo. I grabbed a photo of Scott and Duke working on this. So anyway, this is the landing platform that is 1-to-1 scale. You could see the big AT-AT here arriving where Luke comes to Darth Vader there. And then here's Duke in the drying section. So when people, one of the cool things of our booths through the years is that it wasn't you sit down and you must finish what you're making. It's like the people would use it as sort of like a gathering space. So someone would come, they'd start building a tree trunk or something, and then they'd say, oh, I have to go see Mark Hamill speak. So then they would leave, and then they'd come back an hour and a half or 2 hours later, and then they would continue what they were working on. And then they would do that for the 3 days or 4 days until the Sunday display. And then after that, they were able to take their item home, like I said before. So here's Duke placing some of the trees that fans made in order to dry. We had these little tags with numbers on them so that they would know what tree was their tree if it was just the bark and they hadn't finished the construction yet. On the left, you could see there's like a hut here with the platform and the spirals. So someone who made that would remember that, okay, that's mine. So it would be easy to identify. But when you're starting out and it's just a tree trunk, well, it's hard to tell between 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So anyhow, that's Duke over there. Here we have a picture of, just to show you, I thought this was cool. It shows you how you had little kids with their parents, and then you had adults across from the table. So you really had all kinds of ages that would come to the Celebration Diorama Builders booth in order to build whatever art project that we were designing for that convention. And so here she's helping, the mother's helping her attach some of the little bamboo sticks here to create the little bridge that they're going to put around their tree. Here is the early, this would have been probably on the Friday, and because Thursday I think was Friday was the first day, and then was it Friday? I forget if it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I know it was 4 days. I don't think it was Thursday, Friday. It was probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Anyhow, this is probably on day 1 or day 2 of the convention because the tables haven't been pushed yet. There's only this area of mulch. There's these trees in the back there that you see. Those were the trees that I had made as prototypes while in San Francisco. And so to show, I had to make prototypes to know if it was going to work, the concept of the design, right? And so that is what this is there. Then on the right is people building. You could see the trees is just the paper. It's not painted yet. Some of the drying station on the left. And then you could see here at the bottom left here on the table, you see all the figures that the fans donated to us to display, because diorama with no figures is naked and looks not very good. So that's what this table is. And we had Hasbro donate from their warehouse in China for the first time. They donated hundreds of Endor Rebels and Endor Imperials to help populate the diorama as well. So that was really cool. Here's a closer photo of some of the donations. So you have all the Hasbro figures over here partly, and then we have some of the fan donated figures over here, and we could not have done it without fan support. It was a huge help in order to make the experience the maximum it was. And then all these figures went home with the kids on the last day, when if they built an Ewok tree and then they had some Ewoks or some Imperials around it, that was for them to bring home. We didn't bring any of these toys back with us. Here's Danielle in front of the welcome table, and I studied in graphic design, so one of the fun things for me to do at the convention is design signs and different things like that. So here's one of the signs that we had. And because I had worked at ILM just before the convention, I was able to ask Lucasfilm and LucasArts and ILM if they had donations that they could give to give away as raffle prizes to the fans. And so we had I printed and created these cards, these badges, and I was laminating them at the end of each shift. Like at 1 a.m, I was laminating these things. And if you had the ILM, LucasArts, or Lucasfilm logo in the back when you flipped the card, because the people would pick a card, like a magician says, pick a card in the deck of cards. And so when they flipped it, if they found one of these logos, they were able to pick from the bin and get prizes like that. So that was cool. And then we also gave away some t-shirts. And this was the first and only time that Lucasfilm actually took my t-shirts and were selling them in the store. So that was really cool to have that opportunity to have them do that. And here's a close-up of of what I was explaining. So on the left is all the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday. Okay, so you see it was Monday. And Thursday as well. Okay, so Wednesday was the setup that we had gone, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That makes sense. Okay. My memory, it's like been a long time, and anyway, it's not what it used to be. Okay, so anyway, so I flipped the badges, the cool prizes, and all the different things, and then the t-shirts, and then we had mystery, we had ILM pens and mini posters of a LucasArts game, I think it was. I forget what it was exactly, but anyway, that was a fun part. It was the first and only time, because the future conventions, I didn't have access directly to ILM store and different things in order to bring things to give to the fans. So this was very special for me to be able to do that. Okay, here's the close-up I was referring to before. So here's Duke on the left and Scott, and they're attaching toothpicks to do the railings all the way around. So they built this in about 3-4 hours. And they just took the foam core sheets and looked at the photo, and they took the at to see as a reference scale. And I think that we didn't have time to paint it or anything like that, because one, we didn't know what color it was, or did we? I forget. I'm just saying this randomly. And so anyhow, this is them at work, and it's pretty impressive, all the detailing and different things that they did for the construction of this. So let's see if HasLab ever makes this one day. Probably not. And here's a close-up of them working on the items. Very cool. And both of them, after this convention, were with me all the way to 2019. So for almost 2 decades, they were to my left and right, helping me with the fans, the public, and all the different things. And it was really like going back to camp every convention, because I'd be re-seeing all my friends, these friends that I made. And it was like if we never left each other. We hadn't seen each other in 2 years, but it was like if it was a weekend ago. It was really cool. Oh, here's one of the first painted Ewoks. Pat Donnellan, he had asked me if I could give him permission to put his Ewoks in our diorama, and I said of course. And so he made all these plaster Ewok copies, and then he had kids paint them at his little table, and then once they dried, then we would put them inside the finished diorama. I just hit my microphone. And so I'm looking at, I just noticed that, thank God the microphone light isn't blinking, because I could have been speaking all this time and have no sound, but I think that we're okay on that end. So this is the little Ewok that was really all so well detailed and everything, and this was one of the fans, one of the kids that painted this. So I was really impressed with this one. And here's some more trees. This is probably on the Friday that we had the area over here, the drying corner, or the not necessarily drying, because I see some of them are don't have paint yet. This is the area of, okay, we are leaving it here, we're going to do something, and then we're going to come back. And so that's where we left all these things. In the back, you could see there was a life-size X-Wing over here. I don't think you'd be able to crawl into it, but this was a fan-made thing, and I think this is the first time that we saw like a life-size ship at one of the conventions and stuff. So that was really cool to see that over there. Oh, here's some people making the tree bark over here. It's just crumpled paper. So my design idea was to take brown paper that you wrap your parcels with, or fish, or whatever it is, and you twist it, and when you take it apart, when you pull it apart like an accordion, it keeps the wrinkles, and then you'd be painting it with some brown paint, and it would give two tones and look like bark, and it worked really, really well. And these two lovely ladies, you have Tommy on the right and her mom. They had so much fun at this. They came to every single convention diorama builders and built something. And the only time they didn't build is the next convention, Celebration 5. They said, can we be part of your team to help you out? It's because it's so much fun and all that. And we said, of course. And the disappointment they had, because they were so busy helping the fans as part of the crew, they didn't have time to build anything themselves, and they were seeing how much fun the fans were having building Hoth, that they were like, oh man, we want to make that too. And so after that convention, they decided to not help anymore and just build, which I totally understand. So it's cool that I see them here and see in my mind all of the other convention visits that they did and all of that. So that was one of the fun things also at the convention, is the friends that you made and the people that would come back all the time. Some fans told us that the first thing they would check is to see if the dioramas are there, and then they would buy their tickets, which is really, really flattering and really cool. Okay, here's my prototypes, my prototype table. And so this was to show the fans the building options that they had, how the tree trunks looked. You could see with the paint here how it gives the two-tone, looks like tree bark. So you had on the left over here, there is a Ewok glider. There's the triangle platform that you could connect 3 trees. You'd put a tree here, and then you had the round platform that you could put on top of the tree, and then you had the spirals over here, and then your little Ewok hut that you made. And on the table here, I had printed out about 30 of these instruction manuals, and I made them look so nice with the little binder and the little things like you have at when you had at school there, you know, those little sort of like plastic spine that fits the paper together. Anyway, the people were loving this so much that they would steal them as to have them as souvenirs, and so by day 3 there was no instructions left for the people to follow, so we just had to tell them how to do the things and different stuff like that. So that was pretty funny. Oh, here's some of the painted Ewoks that I was telling you about from Pat. So this is his plaster Ewoks, and then the kids just painted whatever color and pattern that they wanted, some little spots or different things like that. So that was really cool. Without all of this work that they did, the forest would have looked really bare because there would have been no Ewoks. Maybe 3-4 by the donations, but not the hundreds that Pat created for us. Here's an example of the spiral that you could see over here. Someone made a spiral and someone made a big ladder at the end of the little platform here, which is cool. It shows the imagination of the fans when they come to build. That's like, makes me smile so much to see that. Here's some of the drying areas before they attached the spirals and the little huts and stuff like that. They had to let the paint dry on the tree bark. But see how just from having paper, crinkled paper, and some paint, what a cool looking effect that it gave. So that was really neat. And I try to always find techniques and materials that fans and families can do at home after the convention, so that if they enjoyed the experience and they didn't have time to build some of the other things. I'm hitting my microphone again and I'm talking too much with my hands. And so that I lost my train of thought now. So anyway, but I can't remember. See, no scripts makes it either totally boring or more exciting. I don't know. You'll have to decide. Put in the comments if you find it cool to have me just describe off the cuff like this, as if I was with you looking at the old photos. So this is one of the first days as well, probably on the Thursday. This is people, families starting to build the spiral platforms and stuff. We had styrofoam templates over here, and then you would just use this wire that was covered in with sort of like a string, but the string was brown, so it looked like sort of like vines. And I think it was from the flower shop that we had found those. I forget. And then they just hot glue them using the templates, and then they just pull the template off, and then they would be left with the spiral ready to be placed onto their tree once the tree was built. Here's someone just building the first tree. I know that he's come to many, many conventions. I forget his name, however, unfortunately. But this is when I took this photo, it made me smile because it was the first time that I saw someone actually finishing a spiral and testing it on the tree to see like how it fits and everything like that. So when I saw someone making this, I knew that my design worked and it was easy enough to understand for everyone to be able to build them themselves. Here's, I think, probably on the Saturday, the almost final Endor forest. So you had at least 80 feet over here, and then maybe 25 or something, 22 feet. And here's John over here, and he's testing the speeder bike chase. We had laid train tracks all the way around the forest, and then we put speeder bikes. You can see on YouTube there's the chase prototype, or the chase test is on there somewhere. And I'll try to put the link in the description. And then so he was testing the speeder bikes to make sure that the train tracks were even, so that there was no spots where the speeder bikes would just like tip over or anything like that. And so that was a huge success. People loved seeing the speeder bikes going around and stuff like that. So the only sad part is that the original, in the test, you see that the speeder bikes are on these sticks. Like you have the locomotive, and then you have this like sort of like wooden stick, and then you had the speeder stuck on it. So it looked like the speeder was flying over the ground, and the mulch was making the tracks uneven, so it made them tip over all the time. So we had to remove the stick and just put the speeder bikes directly onto the locomotive, so that there was no like weight at the top to make them fall, and that worked. It wasn't the illusion that I originally designed, but it was still a cool thing that the fans enjoyed. Here's a close-up of John. You could see some of the train tracks here. I don't know where we see the speeder. There's one speeder here, but not on the track. But anyhow, there's the landing platform behind the trees there. So we started placing these trees, see, with the Ewok huts and the platforms. The green foliage was from an aquarium fish store, or a pet store, that we used for that. Here's another angle. All the trees. See how cool it started to look when you put all the trees? These are all fan-made during the convention. So one tree is one person. We had hundreds of people come build hundreds of trees. It was amazing. here is the sad day. Always the saddest is the teardown on the Sunday, the last day after all the people come and we give the toys and the figures to the kids. We do like a sort of like raffles, and then all the people come to claim their tree. There's my tree. There's my tree. There's my platform. And so they all take it home with them, and then all that's left is empty tables and mulch and different things. Thank God there's a cleaning crew that cleans this, and we don't have to clean up before we leave. We just go away from the convention. I could just see the people going, what the hell is that? Oh my God. But anyhow, this shows you at the end of the day, the whole forest has been like almost like if it was mowed down there. And here, last photo we have is we had told the people who helped build the forest, if you can make it at this hour on Sunday, I think it was at 10 in the morning, if you can come, we'll do a photo op. Not everyone could make it because some people want to see the closing ceremony and different things like that. So these are a portion of the people that were able to come into the booth for the photo. And in the back is my team over here. And then all of these people had come and participated. There's Tommy's mom and her brother. And then, do I recognize any other people? I think this guy's name was Chris, I think. Or John. No, I think it was John. And then, yeah, there's Danielle, John, me, Mark, JC, Chris over here. My God, we all look so young. Now we're all old and decrepit. Anyway, so yeah, this is what the final diorama looked like in the back there, and you could see, like, again, in person it was so impressive. In the photo it looks cool, but the photo doesn't give it justice as when you were there and you were actually looking at the scale of it all and such. So I'm just going to go back over here. I hope it's the right one. Yes, it is. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll try and make more of these Flashback Friday episodes as we go along, so that you'll have something to watch in between the tutorials and in between the live streams. So that's the plan. Today was episode 1. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and on that note, I will let Alec Guinness say the last word.
Hello there. The Diorama Workshop is strong with the Force, a place where creativity and craftsmanship bring worlds to life. Subscribe now, and may the Force be with you.